High Evolutionary has arrived and Marvel Snap has evolved. This is a great card that honestly is worth the 6,000 tokens if you have them, both from a power perspective and from just a gameplay perspective. It's a lot of fun. It's a great deck building card, and I think it has really lived up to the expectations. The animations are great. The card synergy is great. Hulk is now insane. There's a lot to love about High Evolutionary, and I'm going to talk about 5 decks that I experimented with on the first day. These are going to be kind of like brews that I designed, and it's important to note that I expect you to make some minor changes to the decks, or a lot of changes if you so wish. Over time, over the next week or so, much more refined lists are going to come out, and I will be showcasing those on future videos and on the decks of the week, of course. So if you're not subscribed, consider subscribing so you see that stuff. This video is also going to be a little different because after each of the 5 decks I'm going to show you a gameplay example of me playing it. So not only am I going to show you the decks, but I'm going to show you some live gameplay that was recorded on Twitch TV. Now, first what I'll do is I'll talk about what High Evolutionary is for those that may not realize. So High Evolutionary is going to unlock the potential of non-ability cards, which include the Wasp, which is probably one of the absolute best. For 0-1, you afflict 2 random enemy cards at a location with -1 power. Misty Knight gives +1 if you have unspent energy after each turn. Shocker, Cozy was right to identify on the Snapchat that Shocker is probably better than people were thinking, and that leftmost card getting that -1 power is really impactful, and I found Shocker to be a really solid addition. Cyclops is pretty cool too. When you have unspent energy, you're basically going to hit -1 power across 2 cards at the location. The thing has an on reveal that basically does -3 in the location, hitting random targets. Abomination is one of the key combination cards. You're going to see some additional decks using like Moon Girl and Abomination, She-Hulk, and stuff like that coming out shortly. It's not one of the brews I've designed today, but I'll be working on one in the near future. Great card. And Hulk is the real winner here. I think any variation of the Hulk-based kind of synergy, the Sunspot skipping turns with Hulk and Cyclops and etc. Hulk is honestly like a 620 sometimes, 618 regularly. It's absolutely crazy what Hulk is able to do. A very, very good card. I'm really impressed with High Evolutionary and its impact so far. Let's talk about the 5 decks. The first deck, and again, these are my brews, but the first deck that I really like, I'm calling the Evolution of Control. I think this is a really nice deck. The reason why I like this because it has a Sunspot Hulk synergy with, of course, these Cyclops, but I didn't dive too deep into High Evolutionary. I'm just kind of using the best of High Evolutionary, which was, in my opinion, the Hulk. I do like Cyclops, and I like the Thing. Now, Cyclops could potentially be changed here, but I did think it was valuable, especially when you can consider what Jeff and Professor X does. Luke Cage is being played to deal with the mirror match, right? Luke Cage is kind of the main thing you want to have for mirror matches. Beware of Rogue. However, one thing I really like about this list is that if you Professor X on top of Cyclops, you have the option of skipping the turn with the Sunspot and proccing the Cyclops, which allows you to kind of eke out a win in the Professor X lane. The thing I really love about this deck, however, is the inclusion of Daredevil, which allows you to play Spider-Man and Professor X with confidence, but most importantly, it's a control shell. It gives you a lot of options, and you never truly feel out of a game. In terms of consistency, I felt like this deck was the most consistent, although some of the other decks had higher highs. One thing that could be worth considering as well is you could replace Cyclops with one of the others, even maybe Shocker if you wish. If you don't have Jeff, I would recommend Lizard, because when you're playing Luke Cage, Lizard's effect does not actually impact your board. So Lizard is a 2/5 that has a -4 power if they have 4 cards, but it's never going to get that -4 power as long as Luke Cage is present. So I do think that the Evolution of Control is a good deck, and also what we're going to do here is I'm going to showcase to you the gameplay highlights, which I'm going to show after each individual deck explanation, so enjoy these gameplay highlights. I think Jeff's an amazing card. I think it's an S tier card. Jeff's one of my favorite cards in the game. There's no doubt about it. The nice thing about Sunspot here is that the Sunspot gets the +1, and the Hulk actually gets the pluses as well, which is great. We are going to storm Grand Central. They decide to storm. So we have multiple flooded locations, although they are playing Jeff. I think we actually skipped this turn. Yeah, we skip. So did they. So I think this is interesting because you can do something like Cyclops, right? And then you can skip the turn after Professor X to proc the effect. Naturally, we have a 16 Hulk. He plays his own Cyclops. We're just going to trade. Him playing Cyclops makes me feel sad. We will Spider-Man here.
Friendly neighborhood Spider-Man here.
So he literally just can't play the game now. Okay, yeah, this is a very clean win here. He can move cards, but it doesn't matter. We got this, yeah, so that's a very good win. I like that. That's why Spider-Man's in this list. That's exactly why Spider-Man's in this list. It gives you a good element of control. In this case, because the double storm play, that was good, but I mean, this Hulk is 20. This Hulk's 20. It's pretty incredible, isn't it? The next deck that I really liked in the early days of High Evolutionary was what I call Toxic Evolution. It essentially is a Hazmat Luke Cage list with Scorpion, and it's designed to try and get that Abomination out as soon as possible. You can use Hazmat pretty much, I'm not going to say on curve because there's not going to be many cards there, but you can use Hazmat early if they've kind of started to zoo out a bit with like a Squirrel Girl or something like that. Scorpion, of course, will impact the value of Abomination as they play cards in. But again, this is just an overall deck that has like a lot of answers. I do like the Enchantress for taking out their Luke Cages. It's kind of completely necessary now. I love what the Thing does. Spider-Woman is great in this list as well. Shocker often hits things like Spider-Woman, which allows you to play it earlier and with more kind of more combinations. Like I often had Spider-Woman sitting as a 4 because of the Shocker impact, which allowed me to play Spider-Woman and Hazmat on a turn 6, which is absolutely insane. There's a lot to like about this list, honestly, and the inclusion of Wasp, of course, with that burst potential of the -2, which gives it an overall power of 3, is pretty substantial. The games that I won with this were pretty fascinating. When you win in spectacular fashion. Damn, we gotta play him out. Gotta play him out. I don't like it. I don't like it. We can play Shocker left. Plays a Scorpion. Okay. I think we put pressure here. He's going to easily float, though. Extending the games to definitely to his advantage. Now, if we get Hazmat, though, we have options. I think we drop the Hulk. I think Hulk has to come down, so they're snapping. It's fine. I think we go Hulk mid here. Actually, Hulk mid was risky because if they have Enchantress, it knocks out both. That was a misplay. I should not be doing this. This is an Enchantress disaster, right? I like the deflections with the Luke Cage there. So we do have Hazmat ultimately, but I'm assuming he has Luke Cage, right? We use our power. We go for it. This is going to be Enchantress or Luke Cage itself. It's Hulk. So we ultimately get that win, which is kind of crazy. So they're either not playing Luke Cage or they didn't draw the Luke Cage, and the Hazmat ultimately wins the Sunspot location that he was banking on winning. If you're seeing a lot of mirror matches, I do think that Rogue Evolutionary, this deck here, does do a good job of dealing with the mirror matches. And yes, with High Evolutionary coming out for the next week, You're going to see a lot of High Evolutionary. I think it's a really common card that a lot of people bought. People are excited for. It's a big bad. It has a huge impact on the game state. People wanted High Evolutionary, and people are going to play High Evolutionary. And so I think that Rogue is really good because Rogue's going to obviously steal the Luke Cage effect from your opponent, nullifying their ability to deal with your negative plays of Cyclops and Wasp. The Thing is not having a presence in this list. I do think the Thing can be played here, honestly. So if you want to substitute something like Wave, you could put the Thing in. But Wave's really good for the Kitty Pryde lists. And as people kind of like stop playing their High Evolutionary decks, I think Wave will kind of come back into the meta for a turn 5 play to kind of break down the bounce-based lists. But I do think that Cyclops can be taken out for Thing as well if you so choose, especially it does well in the mirror match when you're able to rogue their Luke Cage. I did like the inclusion of Misty Knight here. I wanted a more lower curve so I can actually play on tempo, because you never want to play Wasp on turn 1. Obviously Sunspot's a great turn 1 play. But overall, I thought this deck performed really well, and I think that the addition of Rogue, particularly for the first week of this meta, is going to be really impactful. Yeah, Luke Cage is weird because you kind of don't want him to get Enchantress, right? So playing him out a little early can feel risky. But this deck does have the Wave for turn 5, where you can play Wave turn 5 with Luke Cage. The control stuff is going to be a little less common, I think. So what I think we do is we're going to skip this turn. We're going to float. We're going to give Hulk the +2 here. And it's going to allow the She-Hulk to be a 4-drop as well. Or 3-drop, I should say. Good math, Alex. It allows us to play the Misty Knight, which is great. We end a turn with unspent energy. So, like, I love this, right? Misty Knight you actually want to play on turn 1. I love that. What we're going to do is we're going to play Misty Knight into Mojo World here. Very interesting duo of cards. We do play the She-Hulk. I'm willing to play She-Hulk into Kleintar here. I don't know if I am. I think we do contest this. He is going to be incentivized to play here to get the Angela value. Perhaps we just go left. We just go left, I think. Yeah, he's going to be incentivized. I knew that was going to happen, so I think we're ultimately going to give right. We're not running a Shang-Chi here. He bounces it back. That is not what I expected. I should have anticipated bounce potentially with Collector being on board. That's not what I expected. I respect it, though. I respect it a lot. That's pretty damn solid. So what we're going to do here, they're playing bounce. We snap. And it's pretty straightforward because they're just not going to be able to beat us. It's going to be Wasp. It's going to be Wave. It's going to be Lizard. And he's going to leave. We drop it down. That Wave's going to be completely detrimental to their game plan, especially if they're picking stuff up here. We go 4 wide on Mojo World. We're a little weak in Mojo World. We're hoping for a bounce back here. It's Kitty Pryde. It's Falcon. That's exactly what we needed. And now their game is ruined. I'm sorry. I'm sorry I had to beat you that way. Told you guys. The next deck is called Evolutionary Burst, and I thought this was a very fascinating mashup between Hitmonkey, Sarah, and of course High Evolutionary. The approach was to take kind of like a best of both worlds kind of approach to get the best cards of those two archetypes, bring them together, and try to make something wholly new. And I think that this deck does exactly that. You are going for the turn 5 Sarah play with a turn 6 Miracle play that often includes you killmongering your Nova, dropping your Mysterio for your Bishop, and of course your Hitmonkey. But I did often find myself, playing the Mysterio Hitmonkey on like turn 4 together, which is totally fine as well. Like, you obviously would prefer the Miracle play, but if you're not holding Sarah by turn 4, I think playing them down early is okay. You have the Enchantress for the anti-tech, especially when you're playing against a lot of like Luke Cages and Devil Dinosaurs and things along those lines. You're not seeing a lot of Patriot over this next week, but maybe you might, who knows. But overall, I do think that this deck is pretty cool, as the deck highlight will show. Oh, that sucks. Scorpion's not good. We do not like Scorpion. Not a fan of Scorpion. Yeah, Fates, when they add the infinite leaderboard, I think it'll mean a lot to a lot of the people that play a lot. But for me, honestly, like, I'll never truly compete on that leaderboard. Like, it's just not what interests me. It's not how I engage with the game. Like, I just, so I'll never be the highest ranked Marvel Snap player. Like, that's not what it's gonna be. I get to infinite. I do it relatively quickly. And for me, that's enough. Like, for me, like, getting to infinite and making sure that, like, I'm you know, at the level where I believe I can give, you know, legitimate advice and stuff like that. It's important, but I'm never going to climb a leaderboard. I'm never going to do that kind of thing. Yeah, I do agree that like having additional rewards could be valuable. I think that's important. I can't believe you're running a deck without Luke Cage. I know, I chose violence right now. Tried something a little different, you know? We really did not get the cards we need. Kind of wanted Nova here. We have to play Hitmonkey mid. This goes here, fills. This gets destroyed anyway. Play this, no. I think we go for this. There's a chance. The bomb drops. It's big. It's a big boy. They're playing their own Luke Cage. But my Hitmonkey is bigger than your Abomination. You've lost. Good day, sir. Who needs Luke Cage in a deck when you got Hitmonkey? Oh my god, this Killmonger. Oh, the Arg. That's a lot of damage. My friends, we got a clean win here. Feels good. And what's crazy is that the Abomination and the Hitmonkey are actually both set to 18 right now. They tied. That's crazy. The next deck we're talking about today is Evolutionary Energy, which is a mirror match centric deck. Now, whether you like it or not, you're going to be seeing a lot of High Evolutionary over the next few days and week because, well, a lot of people wanted to play this card and they're going to play the card. It's super cool. It's super fun. The team did a good job on it. So you kind of got to pay attention to that mirror match. And if you're getting a ton of mirror matches, this was a deck that I designed that I think deals with it pretty good. And the key thing here is it has the magic combination that I think is so damn spicy. And I think that ultimately once the mirror matches kind of start to wear down, like, you know, in a week or two, I think that the Magic She-Hulk Hulk Sunspot combination might be one of the most oppressive combinations of High Evolutionary. And it clearly showed in the gameplay highlights and my experience playing the deck. It's remarkable what Magic will do skipping turn 6 into what is a massive Hulk She-Hulk play. Now, Moon Girl can be used as well to good effectiveness here, and I'm going to work on a list for that too. But overall, the inclusion of Super Scroll is fascinating because if you are having that mirror match and they have Luke Cage, then you just Super Scroll it and you just laugh. So the mirror match component here is like you just cut Luke Cage so you don't have to worry about it for the mirror match because you're using Super Scroll anyway. So I do think there's a lot of really interesting things that this deck does, and you'll see in this gameplay highlight, it can definitely perform. Green speckle gold, stuck on green border. Do I just keep leveling it up, or what do I do here? Or do I leave it? I kind of lean towards leaving it. I'm not sure what to do. Go to gold border. I like the idea of gold bordering the gold cards. I think that makes sense. I protect his Sunspot as well, but it's fine. It is really weird if you think about it, the interaction with Hulk and like the efficiency curve. Oh my god. Losing Wasp feels really bad there. And Ebony Maw is horrible for Super Scroll. As is Lizard. Everything is awful. All right. Play Magic here. I think we do this. By the way, I'm starting to get sold on the Shocker, by the way. I think Cozy was right when he identified Shocker as potentially a really good card. Okay, that's not that big a deal. I think arrow's more valuable than that, though. Feels like a bit of a wasted arrow play, in my opinion. So we hard skip this turn. Let's add 6. We still lose by 1 to Doctor Doom. What we really want to do with the discount to Hulk is draw Misty Knight here. Oh my god, it's perfect. That's perfect. Feels like a straightforward game. We play Hulk here. This drops by 2 and he plays a card. It's She-Hulk mid. Misty Knight. That's 3. We float to 16. They're snapping. So they've snapped. I think we have a win condition. Hulk. She-Hulk. Misty Knight. We float 1 more. He goes up by 2 as well. This gaps by 1. Go 14, 16. The safer play... Okay, I'm doing this. We just do this. This might be overkill. I'm going with my original plan. They float 1 energy only? Guys,